Hi, and welcome back to another newspaper article, Lucky Dip. No trigger warnings. There could very well be the need for some. We just don't know yet. It is all a secret to me, what we're going to pull out the hat. So do check the description down below just to ensure that there's nothing that's going to be relayed here that might be a wee bit much for you, you know. Now, we'll see what the hat does have for us this episode. So plenty of articles to go. We've really just got going in this season. Okay, so we're starting with an English newspaper. We have the London Packet and New Lloyd's Evening Post for the 23rd of July, 1821. Let's see what the London Packet and New Lloyd's Post has for us. Okay, so to start us, we have a mysterious circumstance. The Times says, "We are favoured with the following communication from a lady of high rank who was an eyewitness to the event described. A singular incident took place on Thursday in Westminster Hall, in one of the Peeress's boxes near to the left of His Majesty's table. At the first entry of the champion, when every eye was directed towards him, an Irish peeress," and here in brackets it says the Countess of Censored, who had lately arrived from Paris to attend the coronation, happening to turn round her head, saw near her a gentleman in a Highland dress, leaning against one of the small pillars with a pistol in his hand and looking towards His Majesty's table, seemingly as if going to present it. She instantly started, exclaimed, "What do you mean? What are you about, sir?" He replied, "Don't be alarmed, madam. The pistol is not loaded." But this not satisfying her ladyship, she, with the true characteristic spirit of her country, turned to one of the gentlemen appointed by Lord Gwynder to attend upon the peeresses with refreshments, and said, "Sir, I desire you will instantly arrest and secure this gentleman with the pistol in his hand and remove him from the gallery," upon which he was instantly surrounded by some of the attendants till a proper officer took him into custody. Many of the ladies were alarmed almost to fainting. After a short interval, one of the attendants was sent to the box to quiet the fears of the ladies by informing them that the pistols were not loaded. Had this lady of high rank been a Scotch instead of an Irish countess, she would have known that a Highland gentleman's equipment in his native costume is not complete without his pistols as well as his dirk. He told her they weren't loaded. He literally said, "Don't be alarmed, madam, the pistol's not loaded." And she's gone, arrest him, oh my god! Really? So they existed, these people, back then, 1821. These people have always existed. We know which people I speak, I presume. So, yeah, I think she went a wee bit above her calling and overreacted to that scenario. Let's see what we have next. It's nice that he was allowed to wear his Scottish garb in 1821, because of course the Act of Prescription after the 45 rebellion stopped Scots from wearing Highland garb of any description. That included shoulder belts as well as plaid and trews in the Highland style, etc. But that ended in 1782. I think that act was, and they felt that had been a generation's worth. It had been long enough that maybe the peasantry wouldn't resort to their former customs as it regarded dress. But then if you're a peasant, you're working off the land, you're bartering your produce for other necessities. It's not as if you've got a bank balance you can resort to whenever you need to. And when they were denied the clothing they wore on a daily basis, they didn't have any other clothing to wear, did they? I think it was it 3 years prison, 2 or 3 years prison for the first offence of being found wearing Scottish or Highland clothing, and 7 years transportation for a second offence. So it's nice that by 1821 this gentleman felt comfortable enough to be out and present in his full finery. So the next newspaper we have here, after that diversion, apologies, is the Perthshire Courier. That's for the 3rd of August 1843. The Perthshire Courier. Let's find out what it has for us. Okay, so this one's not titled. It begins, "A strange occurrence took place in this neighbourhood last week. Mr. Leslie, Jr. of Butcherstone, rents a grass park at Kincairney, to which is attached the cutting of some natural grass in an adjoining plantation. He sent his servants with 2 carts to cut this grass and bring it home. The men put the 2 horses into the park while they proceeded to cut their load, which, being done, they went to bring the horses, when they found that both had been attacked by some guys, or young cows, the ordinary occupants of the pasture, and shockingly gored. One of them, a valuable horse, had his entrails protruding, and died soon after. The other, though severely injured, is recovering." What? So, I mean, it's only a strange occurrence in that it makes out as if this is a regular occurrence. This is a regular outing that they do to go and cut grass. That this habit for them, at least that's how it reads, is that, you know, these horses were put into the park kind of as usual, you know. But can't have been, if the usual occupants of the park were horned animals that were likely to attack other animals, surely they can't have done that as a regular thing. Or maybe the young cows, I mean, it says young cows. See, in my head, which is going to go towards how much I know about agriculture, I figured bulls have horns, Highland cows have horns. Do dairy cows have horns? It doesn't say that they're dairy cows, I suppose. But regardless, they're large animals with weaponry attached to them permanently. Surely they knew they were putting the horses at risk. They'd have known that this field or park was already occupied, you'd have thought. Knowing the area, since they're able to go and just cut this grass as if it belongs to them or the Lord. I don't know. That was either an accident waiting to happen, if it was something they did regularly, or it was a one-off and it was just a really bad decision on their part to have tied the horses up there. Those injuries sound just horrible. Like, and horses were really valuable creatures too, if you consider the amount of work they did back in the day. If you had a healthy one, to lose one to an attack like that, I'm wondering if maybe either or both of these servants were maybe let go. I'm pretty sure they were strongly berated on arriving back, a horse down, with the other needing veterinary care, in whatever form that consisted of. Jeez. Anyway, on to the next. We have the Public Ledger and Daily Advertiser for the 8th of December, 1824. Public Ledger. Let's see what this has. Okay. We'll have this to end us, I guess. So we have singular occurrence. This is from the Paisley Advertiser, as relayed in the Public Ledger and Daily Advertiser. Early on Thursday morning, the watchers of the Carlton churchyard were addressed by a gentleman in a state of nudity, who stated that he had been robbed of his clothes, money, and a gold watch worth 30 guineas in a house in Main Street. He had got a greatcoat from one of the watchmen and went away. Information being given at the police office, Captain Hamilton apprehended the person who kept the house pointed out and the girl who had been with the gentleman. The clothes, hat and watch were delivered to the officers. The girl stated that she met the gentleman about 11 o'clock at night in the Gallowgate, and they went together to the house in question. They had a mutchkin of whisky, which they drank with the landlord, and then retired to rest. The gentleman, about 2 hours afterwards, started up and said he must go home. She advised him to stop till daylight, but he refused, threw up the window, and sprang out of it, 3 stories high. He alighted on the side of another house, 1 story high, broke several of the tiles and alarmed the inmates. He sat there some time, and then scrambled over the top and got down to the other side. The owner of the house where they went to bed said he lived by himself. He was to receive nothing for his bed. He had never seen the parties before, and gave them the bed out of kindness when they said they were man and wife. He often gave his bed in this way and received nothing for it. The girl described herself as an honest creature, and said the gentleman was fortunate in having fallen into such hands. The magistrate, under these mysterious circumstances, remanded the parties till further investigation takes place. There's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so, Main Street is there from where I'm sitting. So this is very local to where I am just now. The Gallowgate's only just up the road a wee bit. Now, this girl and guy have apparently met. She doesn't seem to know him very well, so perhaps it's been some kind of one night agreement or stand. I'm not sure if she was maybe a sex worker of the time, or whether they've maybe just had a night out together, got a bit drunk and ended up going home together. They haven't gone to his or her house. They appear to have gone to some guy who apparently does the early 19th century form of couch surfing by letting folk just bide the night in a spare bed he seems to have in the house, out of kindness, as he says. They've gone to bed. Now, he's in a state of nudity, so, which is why I'm thinking it's a one-night affair of some kind. Because these are different times. You didn't just end up naked in a bed with a stranger. You didn't know, unless there was some kind of an agreement on the go if you were about to have a wee bit of fun with each other. So he's disrobed. He's obviously not worn his watch and money and what have you to bed. He's divested himself of these things, as anyone does before they go to bed. And then what it seems like is he's woken up, but to me it just smacks of sleepwalking. Like, he's woke up in a panic and gone, yeah, no, I need to be home. And she's like, what? We've, like, just going to sleep? What are you talking about? Go to sleep. Like, you're a dafty. Hurry up. And he's gone, oh, got up and it just seems very much like he wasn't fully compos mentis and aware of where he was and the fact that he was unclothed, and it's almost as if he's woken up in the middle of a dream where he's decided he has to get home mid-dream. Because you don't jump out a third-story window naked if you're compos mentis and fully awake. That's not something folk do. And then he's just, I don't know, like, he's like Spring-Heeled Jack, isn't he? In the way he's just jumped about the rooftops in order to get down onto the street. And then he's come across officers, at which point he's obviously woken up. That would explain why he thinks that he's been robbed or attacked in some way, because I think when he found himself sitting, it says that he sat there some time, like out on a roof. I think at that point he's woken up, but he's been confused and he's been like, right, hang on a minute, where am I? I'm not wearing clothes. Where am I? You know? And he didn't know where he'd maybe come from. He's maybe been a bit befuddled on waking up in that kind of way. So he's just assumed he's been robbed. He's maybe just not come to mind and recollected that, no, you went to that guy's house with that lassie and you've left your stuff there, you know, because she's handed the stuff over fine. It wasn't as if they had to go and wrestle these objects from her. It just says that she handed them in. So, I'm going to call sleepwalking on that one. An interesting case of sleepwalking, I think. And we'll have that to end us. So thank you very much again for joining me for another newspaper article Lucky Dip. I'm glad we ended on that strange story instead of something horrific, I guess. The second story led me to believe there could be more of that. So we may see you again for the next one. Take care.